Welcome to the Better Business Podcast. I'm your host, Austin Zelan. Join me week after week as I interview high-level entrepreneurs on their journey to success, both in business and personal development. Each week presents new stories to learn from and new ideas on how to run a better business. Stay updated with all the guests we'll have by subscribing to this podcast. Welcome to another episode of Better Business with Austin Zelan. Today we have our guest, Lucas Pinto. He's doing basically anything you could possibly think of in real estate. So we just had a good chat with him, a little bit behind the scenes about some of his real estate projects and the things that he's got going on in that space. And I think he's really taken a super creative approach to real estate, and especially developing and cultivating successful real estate agents. So very excited to chat with him about that and the different things he's got going on. So Lucas, thank you so much for joining me here today. So why don't we start out with you telling the audience a little bit about yourself and how you got to where you're at today in your entrepreneurial journey?
Yeah, thank you for having me here, and I'm excited to share my story and hopefully provide some value to anyone who's watching. So I started off as, I'm son of immigrants, right? So we moved to the States when I was about 6 or 7 years old. So I think a lot of my perception of my childhood in this country, it was just coming from Brazil to here. You get context as to how much opportunity there is here. And I think a lot of people tend to take that for granted. America is one of the few places where you could come in and you could build anything, you could be anything, you could make as much money as you want. And, you know, through that belief system and those lenses that I looked at the world, I took an untraditional path, like most young people, trying to figure out what I wanted to do, which avenue I wanted to go down on. I knew college wasn't right for me. I felt the pressure of going to college, and at about 20 years old, I got into real estate, and I didn't know what I was doing. But I did know to find the best people in that industry and ask them to work for free. And I called and I emailed a bunch of top producing realtors, and only one responded to me. And that was the person that mentored me when I got into the business. Fast forward to today, I have the #1 mid-sized real estate team in all of Seattle. My team has sold over $500 million of real estate right here in the King County, Snohomish, Pierce County area. We've done over 750 transactions. I've flipped a lot of properties. I've helped a lot of investors flip a lot of properties. I have a pretty big real estate portfolio today made up of 23 doors. I'm an LP on limited partner in over 100 doors. And yeah, I mean, I suck at a lot of things, but I'm pretty damn good at real estate now. And I'm a big believer in the asset class in itself. I think it's an asset class that changed my life. I've seen it change the life of plenty of clients, right? Mm-hmm. And pretty much that's how I got here, man. Yeah.
Yeah. And so do you think that real estate is going to be a long-term thing for you, or is it just a stepping stone to the next phase of your life?
I think real estate, I evolve with real estate, and I'll explain what I mean by that. When I first started in real estate, I only looked at real estate as helping a consumer buy, helping a consumer sell. Mm-hmm. And then as the years went on, I said, okay, wait, I could help consumers invest and make a return on their money. Yeah. And then as years went on, I said, okay, there's tax benefits to it. Now I'm at a stage in real estate where I'm very interested in developing, very intrigued by developing, and that's a whole different category within real estate. I'm very interested in apartment buildings, very interested in syndications, very interested in real estate funds. And that's under the umbrella of real estate, but it's a different avenue than a traditional buy and sell realtor, right? So, mm-hmm. Yeah.
So which one is your favorite?
Oh, wow. Okay. I think there were favorites at different stages of life. I think depending on where you're at and the amount of capital you have, the amount of risk tolerance you have, I think there's an umbrella that's right for you. My personal favorite right now, where we're really focused, is apartment buildings. Mm-hmm. We're underwriting and making LOIs on a lot of different apartment buildings in the Sun Belt of America. Mm-hmm. And I see that as safe and steady with tax benefits, right? I can consistently get a 13, 14, 15% yearly return on my money with massive tax savings, which I kind of need and a lot of my clients need as well. So I would say I'm most excited about that.
Awesome. So you mentioned to me earlier that you have a coaching program for real estate agents, and I've actually never heard of anything like that. So can you tell us a little bit more about that?
Yeah, absolutely. So I've noticed that most realtors, most business owners, most people, they don't need more information. There's a lot. We have so much information. What people need is they need help implementing what they've learned. And they kind of need somebody to hold them accountable. So my coaching program is for anybody who's interested in real estate, anyone who's interested in mindset, and anyone who's interested in their fitness. So it's real estate, mindset, and fitness. And real estate comes last, because I could talk about real estate and business, but if a person, if the 6 inches in between their head is not working in their benefit, then you're not going to take action on what I tell you to do. If you walk into a room and you're embarrassed by the way you look and you can't look somebody in the eye and you can't shake somebody's hand, you're going to have a tough time in business. So let's get you sorted out first, and then we'll roll into the business, the real estate, and everything else. But I think you need to build the right individual first, and business will take care of itself. Because my business grew as I grew as a leader, as I grew as an individual. So the coaching program is exactly that, man. And it's it's something that I really enjoy doing. I feel like I'm giving back, and for most people, it's cheaper than them going out and buying lunch. And you even asked me before we started, why so cheap? Is because I want there to be no excuse for somebody that wants to improve for them to get into that entry level program and be able to get some help.
Yeah, definitely. No, I think it's a really, really cool concept, and especially like the future that you're creating for these people, because it's one thing to just go through a coaching program and it's like, okay, that was great. The information was nice. But these people, you're literally setting them up for success. Yeah. And you have a benefit at the end when they are successful and they work with you and they work at your brokerage.
Right. Yeah. That's the whole thought. My best realtors are people who are in my coaching program. Yeah. So I teach them real estate. I teach them the right habits. I teach them the fundamentals, and they come and join me as a realtor on my team. And I have 22-year-olds that are making $250,000, $300,000 a year, like with no college education. You know what I mean? They're brand new to real estate, and it's not necessarily a good real estate market either. You know, so I'm proud of what we've built there, because that takes a person truly implementing what they're taught, right?
Yeah, definitely. And I think you really touched on a very important point that I've kind of been meditating on for the last month or so. It's like, we're not at a lack of information. We have all the information in the world. It's not like me adding value to somebody is not giving them more information. It's not necessarily giving them complex formulas or concepts. It's me taking that information and simplifying it and making it easy for them to understand. And
that's exactly right.
And that's what you're doing with your coaching program. You're taking all this information and you're distilling it into something that they can replicate.
Right. That's exactly it. Simplicity is the ultimate sophistication. And I think that's very true. I think I was having this conversation today with somebody on my team. People want somebody to take leadership in whatever. If I'm looking for a service, I am looking for that person providing that service to take ownership and lead me, right? If I'm going to take piano lessons, I don't want to be the one asking questions. I want to be told exactly what to do and how to be successful in piano, right? And I feel like most professionals and entrepreneurs don't feel confident enough to truly take ownership of their lane, of their avenue, right? So I'm doing my best at doing that, and I'll continue to improve, hopefully.
Yeah. Awesome. Cool. So on your business journey, what would you say are some of the biggest obstacles you faced?
I think the idea, when I first started in business, I had a few illusions. Number one, I thought there was a point I was going to reach in business where I was fulfilled. That's an illusion. I don't think a true entrepreneur or business person will ever reach that place, because when you reach it, you're going to find the next mountain, right? So that's the first thing. The second illusion that I had is I thought everything I was going to try to do in business was going to be easier than what it actually was. Business is hard. It's difficult. You could count on challenges and setbacks. And I've had a lot of them, man. I had a few years back, about 2.5 years back, I had a pretty big team. And my COO at the time, while I was out of the country, essentially tried to take the whole team and rebrand it with a different brokerage. Wow. Breaking every single independent contractor agreement we had signed, and it almost worked, and it kind of really threw my business in a loop. But we recovered, and we ended up being more profitable from that and having a more successful team that was a lot leaner. That for me was that was something that really hurt. You know, that was a challenge that I just didn't see coming, but I'm glad I got to experience it.
Yeah, I mean, things like that, they happen in business all the time. It's like you really, really don't expect them, but they happen. And I think that's the mark of a true entrepreneur or business owner, is like, how do you pivot out of a situation like that? Like, how do you find a way to succeed even when things aren't really going your way? Right. So, yeah. So another thing I wanted to talk about is like business growth. Obviously, you've grown your business to be, you know, a pretty large scale. And so what are some strategies that you use to like really boost your business growth?
It's a great question. I think one strategy that really hit home for me, and I think could apply to any business, is, and when I really went deep into this, it made perfect sense to me. And Alex Hormozy was the entrepreneur that kind of shed light on this for me. And the concept is this. The concept is figuring out what the output, which is the end result that you really want, is. And then from there, the equation is input. Input is the amount of effort and energy and what metric you're actually tracking. And I say that because most entrepreneurs think they're tracking. They don't even know they don't even know the input in their business a lot of the times. Mm-hmm. So get really clear on what input will actually move the chains forward in your business. And then secondly is leverage. Leverage is, can you outsource? Can you hire for that? Is there tech or software? I think one of the biggest leverage points is a coach or consultant that I've found, because that shortcuts and multiplies the learning curve, right? So that equation really helped me, and I always go back to it, which is the output, the end result that I want, what's the input, the metrics that I have to track, and then what leverage do I have within that business to throw gasoline on whatever I'm trying to grow.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, definitely. I think mapping that out just makes a huge difference, because it's true. Most people just don't even know. And just being intentional about that and identifying those things, just, when you track it, when you measure it, you can grow it. Right. So that's kind of what it comes down to. So, okay. And, in business, we have a lot of times where we can be uncertain. We don't really know what's happening with the economy. We don't really know if another pandemic is going to hit, who's going to win the election. Like, there's all this uncertainty. So how are you approaching decision-making in times of uncertainty?
Yeah. So I think uncertainty is part of life to a certain extent. And I think when I was a younger business owner, I would get upset or frustrated with uncertainty. But if you think about it, if life was certain, it would be very boring. Mm-hmm. I probably wouldn't be having fun in business unless there were challenges and uncertainties and struggles and obstacles. Mm-hmm. So I think changing my framing and my mindset around it really helped. Yeah. To where when a challenge shows up, an uncertain event shows up, my framing around it is finally a worthy opponent. Finally something that's gonna challenge me a bit. And then from there, you have to try to take a step back from a logical approach. I always try to get feedback from people that know more on a topic. If I'm uncertain, I go to people that have done what I'm looking to do, and I get their opinion and insight. And then I look at all the facts and I make a decision with the cards that I'm dealt. Sometimes I'm right, sometimes I'm wrong. If I'm wrong, I learn, I take note, and I make better decisions in the future. And that's all you can do.
Definitely. Now, when it comes to company culture, obviously you've built pretty big teams. And so how important is company culture and how have you cultivated it?
Oh man, culture is huge. And I've watched throughout the years the energy in the room when it was good and when it was bad. And you could sense it as soon as you walk into an environment or a workplace. You could sense how the workers are, how the employees are. Are they happy? Are they not happy? And I think the culture is really the responsibility of the leader to curate. That's my job, to provide an environment where anyone could come in and grow their real estate business. But that's easier said than done. Culture is you have to be in tune as to what's going on with each people on your team. And you got to keep bringing them back to the big picture, because people will get sidetracked. They will get caught up in the minutia, in the drama, in the things that don't really matter. And I think the job of a good leader is to keep the eye on the prize and to lead the team to where we actually want to go.
And so do you have like trainings or like specific group activities or anything that you use to develop that?
Yeah, so we do, unlike most realtors and most real estate teams, we do a Monday huddle over Zoom. We do a Wednesday in-person meeting. We do quarterly team events where we go out and do something different with the team. And I'm texting people on my team every day. We're on the phone every single week. I know what's going on in their personal lives. And it's, at times it could be exhausting, but that's what leadership is to a certain extent, right? You're sacrificing for the whole of the environment and for each individual on your team. And I enjoy it. It brings me fulfillment. So.
Yeah, that's awesome. So obviously industry trends are always changing. There's always new things coming out. So how do you make sure that your services that you're providing as a real estate company are always, satisfactory to your customers and maybe even exceeding expectations?
Yeah. So one way we've done that successfully is we look for the big players in the marketplace to partner with. So for example, we're the #1 Zillow Flex team in all of Washington State. Zillow is the biggest real estate company in the United States right now. They get more foot traffic and views on their website than any other website. So instead of trying to fight that, is how do we adapt that technology and how do we leverage it for our benefit and for our clients' benefits? And and that's challenging for a lot of business owners, because I think in a lot of ways, tech and AI is threatening a lot of different industries. And I see that within my industry where there's a lot of pushback for a group of realtors and team leads and brokerages. And then there are other teams that are like ours where we're embracing all of it and figuring out ways where we could adapt it, because we can't change it. It's coming. So we do our best at, staying on top of things as best as we can. Right?
So what new technologies are you implementing besides the Zillow program?
Yeah. So great question. We rolled out a program just a couple of months ago where we partnered with a few institutional investors. So here's the challenge we have in real estate, right? I have a seller that wants to sell their house and they want to buy another house. That process is so difficult because that seller has to prep their home for market. They got to go on the Northwest MLS. They have to wait for an offer. You have to have people through your house. You have to go through inspection. You have to go through appraisal. So we partnered with a few institutional buyers that will make an offer on any home. So you could close, if you want an offer on your house and you don't want to be contingent on the purchase of your next house, you could get an offer that will close within 2 weeks. So that creates... real estate is a great asset class. The challenge with real estate is not very liquid. So we found that solves a huge problem for our clients and our team. And it takes the friction out of the process. And it's been shocking how many consumers have opted in for that, because the reality is there's the downside of a program like that is you're leaving some money on the table, but most consumers don't care. They want the simplicity. They don't want to deal with the hassle.
Yeah.
Right. So it's figuring out different solutions that might be right for different consumers.
No, I think that's really smart. And I mean, I can imagine they're probably taking a bit of a haircut on the value of their home. However, like the simplicity and like they just want to move on to the next house. Like people pay for convenience, for simplicity. And so I could totally see how that would be a really valuable thing there. So, okay. So are there any other technologies, maybe like AI technology or anything like that you're implementing?
Yeah. So we use ChatGPT a lot, right? We use ChatGPT to integrate with our marketing remarks, with creating a lot of visuals within the team. One program that we've rolled out now to the other end of the program that I just mentioned, if a consumer wanted to upgrade their house and maximize the value of their house, we have a Compass Concierge program where we come in, we show you exactly what updates to do, what upgrades to do that will get you the highest return on investment on your home. We lend you that money at no interest, no hidden fees. We tell you what upgrades to do. We help you line up the contractors and get the best bid. So now we covered both ends of the spectrum. I want to sell quick. I want no hassle, or no, I want the most amount of money possible.
Yeah.
Great. We can help you do both and everything in between.
Wow.
Right. Instead of, in the past, it's been so many different companies, right, that you got to reach out to, and you're so confused about the process. We want to provide a one-stop shop where things are clear, concise, and you know exactly the result that you're going to get because it's repeatable and it's all systems and processes.
Yeah.
And our goal is to provide a 5-star experience, which we have done for over 400 clients. And we've never gotten anything less than 5 stars. And that's not easy to do whenever you're dealing with someone's biggest transaction of their life, right? There's going to be stress. There's going to be things that go sideways. So to manage that consumer experience and always get a raving review, that's something we're really proud of.
Yeah. Definitely. That's amazing, man. I think it's really cool that you have both of these programs in place where it's like you're literally helping them do every part of the transaction and going above and beyond. I mean, I'm pretty familiar with the real estate space, but I don't think many people are doing that at all, if any. So cool. Now, as part of growing your team, obviously you have to attract and retain top talent. So what are some strategies that you've used to attract the top talent to your team?
Yeah, so that's a great question. I think we've done a great job of showcasing as best as we can through social media our day-to-day and what we're doing. So just showing people, hey, look at somebody who just joined the team. Look at what they're at 12, 18, 24 months later. There are realtors on my team that started with me that as their business grew, as they evolved in entrepreneurship and as an individual, now they're a full blown out business owner. They're flipping properties, they're buying properties. So my job is to continue to provide an environment where people could grow. I see it in real estate as a realtor. I see 3 different stages and I see them pretty clearly because that's what I experienced in my career. The first stage, you're just trying to understand how to become a salesperson. You need to understand how to go out into the marketplace and sell something and solve a problem to bring in income. The second stage, once you're able to do that successfully, you now become a business owner. That's different. Business owner, now you have to account for how do I pay the least amount of taxes? How do I plan my overhead, my expenses, my accounting, right? So that's the second stage. How do I leverage my time? How do I outsource? And then the third and final stage is really where I built a lot of my wealth, which is the investing piece. Right. The investing piece is really where things get interesting, right? Being able to identify good opportunities, being able to identify how to get debt at the right rate so you can buy the right deal. So I kind of see those 3 evolutions for a real estate agent today.
Definitely. So being involved in so many different things, how have you found the best strategy, I guess, to manage your time and resources?
Yeah. So it's tough, right? Because I work a lot, but I enjoy work. I don't complain about working a lot. I live and die by my calendar. I have an assistant that helps me manage my calendar. That's really important for me. And I try to schedule my life around, I gave up this idea of trying to separate work-life balance. It's all the same. You know, I could be on a trip with my girlfriend while working and putting a deal in a contract, right? So I think the pressure of trying to do both correctly really hurt me for years, of trying to be perfect, of like, okay, this is this time, this is that time. It's all life for me. So
Yeah, definitely. So instead of trying to have like work-life balance, we have work-life harmony. Right. We kind of find a way to harmonize the two things. So what would you say is one investment, whether it's time or money or maybe some other resources that you'd say significantly paid off in your business?
I would say throughout my career, the best money I have spent have always been in mentors, coaching, consulting, seminars. My mentors today are opening up new doors for me. And I think I'm the type of person, I need to sit across from somebody who has exceeded all my expectations. And I need to see that that person is just like me. They're just a little bit further along in their journey. And that mentally unlocks something for me. So as you grow, you kind of got to pay for access. You know, if you're trying to reach the new level, you either have to be really well connected or you have to pay for access. And I think that is the best investment you can make.
Definitely. I 100% agree with you. And it's like, you know, I've paid for access to many people and mentors and stuff like that. And that's like every single time I've done that, I've gotten, I'd say, a minimum of a 10x return on my money. It's like, it's advanced me. It's shortcutted so many years in business for me that I do it, you know, if I could go back, I'd do it more, you know? So I think that's like the single best investment in my business as well. So, okay. So looking forward, like what does the future of your business look like for you? Are you trying to expand further into any certain part of real estate?
Yeah. So my goal and my vision is I want to continue growing the real estate team. But I really want to focus on the real estate fund. This year we launched a 506c. We named it LK Capital, and we're going to go out and raise money from accredited investors and buy apartment buildings in the Sun Belt of America. I really like that idea because few things, it will give my past clients an opportunity to invest with me. It will give my realtors an opportunity to invest with me. And to put it quite simply, I feel like Wall Street is not a good bet. You know, the more I look at it and the more I understand it, I think you could get much better returns within real estate that comes with tax benefits. So that's our future.
Yeah. So, how do you see networking and building relationships in business impacting your business growth?
I think it's huge. I think, you know, your reputation with the players in a space will certainly matter. I think every big producer within real estate in Seattle knows each other, and there's a mutual respect for each other, and we learn from each other. And I think just like any other relationships, it takes years to build, and it takes one fragile incident to mess that up. So, you know, going out of your way to connect with people. And I think the higher up you climb, the more aware you are of someone who is just trying to connect with you for their benefit, as opposed to someone who's trying to connect with you simply because they want the relationship and they're hoping to add value. So I think, you know, making that effort to truly connect with the person, you know, how can I help you? How can I help your business? Let's establish a friendship instead of, hey, what's in it for me right from the start.
So how have you found ways to lead with value in those relationships?
Yeah. So first of all, I always acknowledge the person, right? One of my mentors now is a guy by the name James Daynard. He's a local investor. James has flipped thousands of houses. He has a massive real estate portfolio, has a TV show coming out in the next year here. And the way I established that relationship is I reached out to him and acknowledged we were in similar circles and acknowledged all he's done for the community. I paid for his mentorship program. I didn't, how much? Great, here you go. And through that, over time, we kind of built a relationship. And I'm doing a flip and he comes over and helps me out with my flip. He's doing a TV show and he says, hey, you want to be on my TV show? Let's cover your flip on my TV show. So through time and through building trust, that relationship grew from a mentorship relationship to more of a friendship. So, yeah.
Awesome. So if somebody's watching this and they're like, okay, so I want to also grow my business and maybe grow it to where you built your business. So what advice would you give to a new entrepreneur growing their business?
I think the first piece of advice is I will look in the mirror and ask yourself if this is something you're interested in doing or if you're committed to doing this. Because if you're interested, you're going to wake up tomorrow and probably forget about it. If you're committed to doing this, then you need to follow up that commitment with some sort of action. And I think the best action you could take is to find a mentor, a coach, a program, something, a community of some sort that will teach you, will consult you, will coach you, and most importantly, will hold you accountable to whatever you said you were going to do. So,
yeah, I think that's very important. And I think that it kind of even reflects like what you're doing with your coaching program for real estate agents. I think it's super incredible what you're doing there and helping develop new leaders and establishing them on a successful platform and creating future success for them. But they have to be committed, like you said. Right. They have to be committed because motivation wears out, like all these things like, oh, I'm so motivated to do this or I'm excited to do this. But some days you're just not excited and not motivated. Right. And that's where your commitment and your determination kicks in. And that's when you're really like, you see what you're made of, essentially.
Right.
You know?
Yeah, and that's very true. That you're exactly right. And, you know, most days, I don't want to do a lot of the things that I'm doing, man. You know, most days it's just, I don't have that luxury anymore. Mm-hmm. I got payroll. I got people counting on me. I got meetings. I got problems to be solved. I got clients calling. We're past the stage of, oh, I don't want to do, like, you're an adult now, you know, you go handle business and you do what you got to do. So
yeah, definitely. Cool, man. So as we wrap up here, are there any last words of advice you want to leave our audience with?
Yeah. The last piece of advice I could leave you guys with is, don't look back and find yourself, doubting or wondering what would have happened if you took that leap or if you made the jump. Pull the trigger. You know, we're in America. If you fail, you're not, you know, this is the easiest country to fail. You can fail as many times as you want, right? Yeah. In a lot of ways, I truly believe if you're here, you've won a lottery ticket in so many ways. So like, why not try everything, try different things? If you fail, try again. And I think a person that's willing to do that for long enough, I think the universe is a pretty fair place. You know, I think the universe is a pretty fair place. You will catch your break. So
yeah, definitely. Well, cool. Thank you so much for sharing your wisdom. You know, I think some of the things that really stood out to me is like, you know, don't be interested, be committed. Mm-hmm. And you know, like you said, like when you're just starting out, you don't have a lot of money, you don't have a brand, you don't have a reputation, you literally have nothing to lose. You're in the best position to take that risk, because your upside is just so massive. Right. So anyways, thank you for joining me. Thank you guys for tuning in. This is Better Business with Austin Zelan, and we'll see you all in the next episode.